You're watching Lansdowne Roar Live, your home for Irish football news and nostalgia. Coming up on this episode, another twist in the Carsley saga. Kilbane, he wants him in, but on his own terms. Carsley, that is. Eamon Dunphy is on the warpath. He's got the FAI in his sights, plus a spot of car trouble for Liverpool Football Club, and we see how our boys in green got on across the water. As always, it is Lansdowne Roar, and it's coming up, and it is live. Sorry, folks, a bit of a frog in my throat. What do you expect? We did beat them in Paris the other night. Oh, Marseille, wasn't it? Bit of casual racism there. So, you are very welcome to another edition of Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Mark. Mark? Who's Mark? I'm having a blinder. Mark Prendergast and Nick Menzies. And if you like what you hear, I don't know why, after that bloody start, and you love what you see, head over, give the subscribe button a push, scan that QR code, head over to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, if you head over to greenmachinepodcast.com, we've got loads of opinions, we've got loads of writers, a plethora of some of the finest young talent and Martin around there. Okay, after that wonderful start, lads, how are you doing? Another week gone. Still no change to the Carsley saga, and we're going to get into that actually right now. Before we do, in fact, just a little bit of news here. Wexford Risk Club have their 10th anniversary charity night. My God, can we just end this now? That is on the 16th of February. That is a Friday. That is in the Bailey in Enniscorthy. It's a night with Ireland legend John Aldrich, Martin's best mate over there. Doors are at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are €20. All monies raised will go to Slaney Search and Rescue. Speaking of which, Martin, just before we get into it, there was something that you wanted to mention.
Yeah, just a little bit of somber news to report. Sadly, Lansdowne Town lost very former chairman, club chairman, Font Egan, passed away recently, and I've seen some lovely tributes to him online and on Facebook, etc. And yeah, he was a good friend to obviously Lansdowne Town. I mentioned it as he's the father of Font Jr., a very good friend of mine. And yours, Dave, who joined us in Amsterdam for the Island game, travels around the world watching us. And yeah, just want to send out our condolences to the Egan family in Lansdowne. And I think there's been some lovely tributes, as I said, from Lansdowne Town. So they've got a stand named after him. So I'm sure they'll give him a very good fitting send off. So I just want to mention that.
No, lovely gesture, Martin. And yes, our condolences go out to that family. Kind of sad to start the podcast off on a somber note there. Especially after my complete disaster of an intro. Right, lads, shall we get into it? As always, we are the voice of the fans. I just completely lost my composure, haven't I? We are the voice of the fans, and of course, we want you to get involved. Please, no comments on my shoddy showmanship here and professionalism. But leave a comment, get involved. Ask us anything we're talking about. You want to have a comment on that, you want to ask us a question, even if we're not talking about it, we can talk about it. Just ask us the question, leave a comment, as I said, get involved. Right, we're going to head over to Big. Nick, this is your time to shine, as always. Get those dulcet tones ready, and away we go. There's not really a lot, actually.
No, not a huge amount. Very quiet weekend, but plenty of updates bringing nonetheless. So Adam Ida, an assist for Celtic in their 1-1 draw with Aberdeen. Of course, his debut, I think it was 4 minutes into the game, he got an assist. Interesting to see some of the feedback from Celtic fans.
Right, either Nick has a problem with his microphone, or he really likes Celtic fans. Sorry, Nick, I know. Basically, he was just repeating it. I'm not sure what's happened. God, we are not having a good start to this live edition.
Celtic fans are obviously not happy, and they've interfered with Nick some way.
We'll try. Yeah, hold on.
Celtic fans.
Oh. No, Nick, you're probably going to have to log off, mate, and come back on. I'm not sure what's happened there. It just says Celtic fans. Sorry about this, folks. That one we couldn't do much about. So whilst Nick comes back, Actually, I'm going to just read out the rest of the Big. Yep, Adamaida got an assist for Celtic. Much that he did sign in the January window, much to the chagrin of Celtic fans, in a 1-1 draw with Aberdeen. Celtic actually went out and started protesting, and they want the board out for their January transfer business. Will Keane got a goal for Preston North End against Ipswich. Casey McAteer got a goal for Leicester City in a game against Stoke. Joe Hodge got a goal on his debut for QPR against Blackburn Rovers, assisted by Sinclair Armstrong. A bit of form there. And Jonathan Afalobi got a goal for KV Kortrijk in a 3-3 draw against Club Brugge. So doing quite well there. I noticed there, Martin, you have something different. There's something different about you.
Oh yeah, I'm sheathed up this evening. I've got my lovely Lansdowne Raw microphone cover,
Sheathed.
courtesy of your good self.
Yes.
Thanks for arranging that. Look very professional, I think. Look at the part.
I think so. Nick's is on the way.
And I appreciate you sending it to me in the post. Although my postman, I don't know what he's gonna think. To be honest,
Celtic fans.
Nope. Nick's microphone has completely gone there. Yeah, here we are. That's what
that's what was sent to me. Martin,
3 lines.
Can't spell Martin. Just because you're probably so giggly at your own joke.
I was.
You can't even spell my surname correctly either.
I was.
I mean,
I did blur out the rest of your address there. Martin without the I, 3 lines, Prendergast. I was giggling to myself, and such was the merriment. There's a good chance, because I sent Nick's off at the same time. There's a very good chance there that I've actually posted him an empty box.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know if I've actually put it in there, so I do apologize. Nick's will be on the way to his shortly, we hope. Nick's still having some trouble there off camera with his microphone. Not sure what has gone on there. Right, well, we're going to continue on here, folks. We're having an absolute stormer so far. It is live, isn't it? It's what happens. We see your comments coming in there. Lots of comments, actually. And keep them coming in, guys. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think of our microphone hands. I think they look rather dashing. Tell us what you think of Adamaida going to Celtic. Are you happy? Celtic fans. We got loads of Celtic fans out there. Tell us what you think. As I said, leave a comment and get involved. Tell us what you think about Nick's microphone, which loves Celtic. From what you can hear. We're going to move it on. We're going to talk about Kevin Kilbane. And Kevin Kilbane has an article in the Irish Times, a weekly article in the Irish Times. And basically, he just goes on about his mate Lee Carsley. Now, he wrote an article last week basically saying to the FAI, get it done. Just get it done. For the love of God, get it done. And that's going to be the theme for much of this podcast tonight. So pretty much talks about being approached by the FAI 2014 as well with Lee Carsley, who is his mate. Rude Doctor wanted to gauge their interest in developing the next crop of underage talent. Neither of us approached the FAI as the story was previously told. So very important there. That's the old wives' tale there, where they approached the FAI. Actually, the FAI approached them. But anyway. But Kilbane said he had doubts about the FAI after the way they dealt with Steve Staunton in 2007. Didn't like how John Delaney asked the player's opinion on who the next manager would be, which obviously would subsequently be Giovanni Trapattoni. They basically showed up to the chat about a possible coaching role, and the doctor said, John wants to see you. Why are you here? Grand. We want to make an announcement later today. And Kilbane said, announce what exactly? We have not discussed terms. A few details were forthcoming. There would be no salary. So basically, the FAI wanted the lads to work for free. Bit cheeky. My response was, this is Kilbane still writing, by the way. How do I earn a living? I had a 2-year agreement with the BBC. Does that have to end for an unpaid internship? Delaney came into the room. He wanted me to attend a festival of football down the country. We will be rolled out and paraded. I rejected the offer of working for free. Rude came back with the suggestion of some promotional work. I want to coach, I replied, said Kilbane. Carsley got the same spiel. No thanks, Christ. And then basically he goes on how he reckons Lee Carsley would be perfect, but on his terms and not to be micromanaged by the FAI, Martin. So we're kind of starting to see now a little bit maybe why there is a reticence from Lee Carsley to do business with the FAI. Now, that's the old FAI, Martin. I think we have to be very clear about that, don't we? That's the old FAI. This is the new FAI, and it's a completely different structure, so we hope. But you brought this to our attention today.
Yeah, new FAI are very much accountable to a board though now, and that's something that obviously we will be going on to discuss when we talk about Eamon Dunphy's view on it. And I think it's very refreshing to see Kilbane talk about and clarify really that the FAI had approached himself and Lee Carsley and asked him for it. And this Festival of Football thing was very much a thing that John Delaney brought in many years ago, working with supporters clubs, and was going around the country in a sense of having a whole week-long Festival of Football, giving tickets out to different clubs within the vicinity of the area. So, for example, I know that they done one in Tullamore, I believe. They did one in Tipperary many years ago as well. I think they did it in Kilkenny. Just spreading the gospel of football, I suppose. So that's what they wanted Kilbane to go out to. I've met Martin O'Neill, and one of them, he was brought out for it at one stage. Ray Houghton is on that kind of gig as well. Richard Dunn has been in the past. They're very positive overall, but it is a little bit of having those people in as a kind of under the management kind of regime or the ambassador kind of role. So it is a kind of paid gig in a sense. But I understand Kilbane saying he wants to get into coaching and things like that, and he was doing very well with obviously the BBC and getting his media career kickstarted as well. Whereas Carsley obviously has gone down the route, as we know, it's been well documented, went into kind of youth setups with respective clubs and has done very well. So I think it's a good article from Kilbane. As I've said, obviously on Lansdowne Raw, it secret agent, not so secret. Basically, he's doing a lot of the work and letting us know actually what's going on.
He is. Of course, the latest is on the Carsley situation. We don't really know. I think it's kind of at a stalemate. Now, they want a new manager in situ for the Nations League draw, which is in 4 days' time. That's on the 8th of February, and it's going to be in Paris. But just a little bit back on Kilbane. Basically, if you read the article, it's in the Irish Times, a good article, to be fair. He's basically saying to the FAI, back in your box, don't you know what this man has done? He's capable of. He based the procedures that Cannon wants to put in place, the technical director of the FAI. Carsley's done all that, and you are going to dictate to him how to do this. And he also mentions when the manager is in place, you guys who you want to micromanage, you guys want to micromanage the next manager. You're going to sit in the back, and this lad, to quote Mick McCarthy, is going to be in the bacon slicer. But you want him to report directly to you, basically saying he should be his own man. He should be allowed to put whatever procedures he wants in place, that kind of thing. Is he right to say that, or is that a little bit arrogant?
No, I think he's right completely. I think if you're bringing in the manager and he's going to be the ultimate fall guy for the association in the public kind of domain, he is the person who everyone's going to kind of relate to. Mark Cannon should be anonymous, basically, unless he wants to put it in. Yeah. If he wants to put in place his structure and stuff. And this is interesting. Carsley's worked with the FA as well. That's what Mark Cannon, Jonathan Hill came through there. Sorry, I better correct that. Mark and Jonathan.
Get it right. We're a football family now.
Yeah, I mean, I was called Mark at the. Oh no, we can't use the football family in relation to Irish football. That was a different term under.
No, that was the Walk of Dreams. Was that not what the Walk of Dreams or?
Oh no! Oh geez, don't go there. Anyway, God, just definitely don't go there. Anyway, so I think, but I think it is that Carsley knows the structure, knows what the FA want to do. I don't think this is. I think it'd be really silly of everyone to think that there's this whole idea that international football teams are inflexible in their setups and things of we want to play the same way from under 15 to thingy, because if you get figured out doing that, you have to be adaptable. That no team does that. Like you have to have different kind of approaches to matches. I think Carsley is a flexible coach with that. I think actually Kilbane talks about playing against Spain in the under 21s and being very clever and technically and stuff. Although I have seen a very good point made on that that guy wasn't the most experienced Spanish manager ever. It's a strange one, but I think Carsley is being Kilbane, on behalf of Carsley, or knowing what's going on in the Carsley camp, is being quite firm on let the guy just come in. Let's just negotiate this and get it all across the line, and don't dictate to him that he's got to be in Ireland and don't do this and let it happen.
And true. But also, I think as well, two things. First of all, it pisses all over what Jason McAteer was saying. Basically, complete rubbish, because Kilbane's actually a mate of his. And also, it goes to show that it's not dead in the water, this with Carsley, is it? It's not at all. They're still talking, and this is what they're talking about, isn't it? They just basically, it's a negotiation at the end of the day. And the next subject we're going to chat about, obviously, but Eamon Dunphy, he doesn't quite understand that. But it's a negotiation. These are the terms. And he's gone, well, actually, no, this is what I want. Yeah. And they're going to basically meet in the middle. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen.
If Carsley comes out and says, oh, yeah, I'm interested in the Irish job, I want it, he's showing his hand straight away. He's got no negotiation thing, because they can say, you've just come out to the media and tell us you want this. This is your dream job.
Yeah.
You've got to play hardball and get it in now. The money will be more than Stephen Kenny was getting. He should be allowed to bring in his own backroom staff. He should be able to make all the decisions he wants. He should be able to be based where he wants to be as well. I thought the other telling point of the Kilbane thing was how much he has time for Brian Kerr, and I think that is perhaps something that is the idea of, we will have a figurehead in Ireland in a sense who
Brian Kerr's is 70.
Yeah, I know, but is that the idea though, that like who's doing the ground? Like, does Lee Carsley need to be going around the League of Ireland matches? Who will have their finger on the pulse for him in Ireland? Is that really important? Perhaps Brian Kerr knows that more and knows that setup, schoolboy setup, all that.
Though, Martin, do you know what I mean?
I know, but there's no one else really. Probably.
Is he going to have the energy?
No, but the other idea, the person who would have been perfect for that role,
Stephen Kenny,
is Stephen Kenny.
Yeah, he's not going to. Well, do you know what? No. Stephen Kenny might want to. Maybe not yet, but I do think at some stage Stephen Kenny would want to do.
Well, that's the mistake we made with Carr. We moved him out.
Yeah, but to be fair, Carr was removed acrimoniously, and and the way he was handled afterwards. So yeah, my thoughts on Carr. They were right to get rid of him. He made a complete balls of a very, very talented group of players. He wasn't up to it. Neither was Stephen Kenny, let's be honest. But I do think there would be room for someone like Stephen Kenny to go in, because Stephen Kenny, if he was to go back and work with the FAI to help, he did say he would support the manager. Maybe not yet, maybe still a bit raw, but maybe in the future. Okay, look, maybe you could have a situation where, all right, Kerr, you do that for a bit. He's 71 years of age. That's, it's tiring to go to all those matches. Then maybe eventually you pass it on to Stephen Kenny, and he's doing his bit for Irish football, because it's all a team effort. Maybe not straight away.
I wouldn't be. That's not a worst shout in the world, though. Stephen Kenny coming into that role, because Stephen Kenny can always say and look back and go, I fast track players in. That's his, and they're a future of our squad. Now, whether they achieve or not, he can always say,
he knows a player.
I gave them experience when they were very young and raw, and that was what I had to deal with. Not do what Kerr came in and when his media coverage since and saying, oh, well, it was maybe,
Noel Mooney did try to get him back on board, if you remember. And what was he said about Noel Mooney? It was like something out of a Soviet spy movie or something like that. I actually have an interview with Noel Mooney. I must dig it out and re-release it, where he talks about that 5 years ago. Anyway, listen, we're going to move it on. But yeah, we'll keep you up to date. Tuesday, we will have another state of play, just to, I suppose, see what the state of play is. Pun very much intended. If there's any movement on the Carsley situation. And actually, even if he gets appointed or he turns it down or whatever, we will be there. We will have an episode, either myself, Martin, or Nick, or somebody. There will be somebody there. My pet rabbit, even if I have to, will have an episode, and we'll keep you up with the latest news. Right, we're going to move it on. By the way, comments, guys. I see comments coming in. I want to see your comments. Your questions, your comments. What do you think? Would you like to see Brian Carr involved? Would you like to see Stephen Kenny maybe try to get him back in the Ireland setup in terms of a scout going around the League of Ireland with the Irish players? He did say he would support the next manager, whoever that is. Would it be too raw? Tell us what you think. Is Carsley right to on his own staff? And is Kilbane right? Is it a bit outrageous for the FAI to dictate to someone like Lee Carsley with his technical expertise, or are the FAI right? I want to hear from you, and we will get to that in a few minutes. Moving on, Eamon Dunphy, he was in the wars again. and he didn't hold back. It was on buzz.ie, and I think also probably the Daily, the Irish Star. You probably noticed here, if on the art there, I picked an old picture of Eamon Dunphy because it was like the old Eamon Dunphy. 0 F's given. I'm trying not to swear on this as much because Mrs. Prendergast might be watching. So I'm just going to read through a little bit here, Mark. We're going to go through. I've broken it down to small pieces, and we'll have a little discussion after each bit. So here we go. There's a lot to unpack. Dunphy says, the FAI, though, have made a mess of the process. It has become an absolute farce. Mark Canham seems to have the lead role in the managerial search. Who is this guy? Before moving to the FAI, he was the Premier League's director of coaching for a year. To me, that sounds like one of the ill-defined roles that have sprung up all across the football industry. Why would the Premier League have a director of coaching? Do you think that Klopp or Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta were ringing up Canham for advice? He does seem adept at throwing corporate buzzwords out there. That can get you a long way in sports administration. So already he's put the welly in there to Mark Canham. Now we've asked the question: who is this guy? He was obviously headhunted by the FAI. You know, anyone involved with the Premier League would kind of deem to be elite in their field because the Premier League is the world league. It's the number one league in the world. Dunphy's not a fan of him, is he?
No, and I think it's a question that a few of us have asked in the past as well. I think it's a big investment in Mark that we go with that. You know, his idea, his kind of philosophy. We've gone down the route, the Dutch kind of model in the past that's had mixed reviews, mixed relations. You know, again, it's not Irish, is it? And we've never given an opportunity for someone Irish to build what way we want to play football and develop Irish football. So,
well,
that's the way they've gone with it. They've gone with this experience or perceived experience from someone who's probably done all the badges, done all the business kind of initiatives and stuff that they have in football now. So, and we've invested in that. We brought him in, and he's had such a significant say. Like he was the one who was doing all the kind of investigation into Vera Pauw, and ultimately made the decision on her future and things. And
well,
it's a lot of trust.
But is this not the new? This is new football, isn't it? This is the modern way. The modern way of doing it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
How being a veteran didn't like this.
Yeah, but
and Dunphy being a veteran doesn't like this.
No, yeah, he wants things simple and a simpler life and things. Yeah, he does. But I think one of the things with that is, you know, it's a big investment, and like I think it goes back to the question that Lee Carsley might not want to commit to a very long contract if, for example, he, you know, has he got any faith that this is actually going to kind of been rolled out? You know, Mark Canham's, you know, sent out this his whole kind of, this is the pathway we want to go down. I mean, I heard this just years ago. I've still got a copy of it somewhere. Packy Bonner did a technical guide for it. No. I'm just making a point like that. You know, we're really invested in Mark Canham's idea, and he could walk away. And I think that's relevant to Carsley, because Carsley could just go, "What if them two go, and what am I left with? And is it still a shit show in the FAI?" Like, you've got to have a lot of trust going into that job.
Oh, of course. Well, his ire, Dunphy's ire, was not spared just for Mark Canham. He also has to go Packy Bonner. And this is from the article again. For some reason, maybe because he saved a penalty 34 years ago, Packy Bonner has a say too. What qualification has Bonner got for picking an international manager? Do the FAI think that playing for Ireland makes you qualified? What is going on in the FAI beggars belief? Take this guff about the senior boss overseeing underage sides too. What on earth is that about? Is this because the FAI want all international teams to play the same way? That is daft. Managers play to the strengths at every level. You decide your approach based on the players available. Now, I think he's been a bit unfair to Packy Bonner. Now, I know as a technical director, he was a bit of a mixed bag before Delaney, but he was kind of well respected, actually. Although I have heard a couple of people weren't his biggest fans. But, you know, maybe he does have a point about the manager has to, you know, being forced to play a certain style or encouraged to play a certain style. I mean, Stephen Kenny didn't play 4-3-3, and that's what Canham wants, doesn't he? He wants 4-3-3 play throughout the youth systems and the senior squad. Fortunately, Nick would be the best person to talk about this. But Kenny didn't, did he? He played, 3 to back? He played like a 3-5-2 system or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very bitchy, to be honest, of Dunphy. This is standard Eamon, isn't it? Like, and I think you put it very well earlier. It's Eamon standing shouting at the clouds.
He is
you know,
shouting at the clouds a bit, isn't he?
Yeah, it is that. Like, it actually, I know you'll go on and cover a bit more of the article, but it doesn't actually end with any resolution of any ideas and what we should do. He's not put his real thoughts out there. He's just having a big rant and a rave. And I think with Packy, though, I think we have to be respectful. I think we have to think that Packy Bonner came in when the shit show of post Delaney was happening, and he was seen as a kind of figurehead of Irish football in a sense that, well respected. Whatever you say in Ireland, he is well respected. He's a figurehead for the association in a sense, because he would be someone that you
respecting UEFA as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, very highly rated UEFA, and opening a lot of doors basically, and keeping things kind of going and stuff. And I think it's a very bitchy thing to do, to dig him out, and then the 34 years ago and stuff, because I think that's, you can't just say that's all he did. 34. He's done nothing for 34 years.
Yeah, I mean, he was technical director. He was technical director. He was part of UEFA setup as well. He was a goalkeeping coach. He was mixed goalkeeping coach, infamously in Saipan. But we'll continue anyway. We'll go on. He continues. The FAI have gone down this road before. Remember, a couple of different supposed Dutch gurus came in and were all going to play total football and live happily ever after. That went well. On the news on Thursday night, Tony Keown, the new chairman of the FAI, gave a brief update on a board meeting. I never heard of him, so took to Google. He used to be the CEO of Tesco. Right, that makes him a perfect fit for a key role in Irish football. Maybe he could use his Tesco contacts to get Bonner a job as a security guard in one of the supermarkets.
It's brilliant. That
is like
that is bad,
old kind of Dunphy. Although Nick, I know he's not on. He's had mic trouble. He would say that we won't get into it because we'll be badly exposed. But he reckons, and he'd have his ear to the ground more so on domestic football, schoolboy football, that they actually did a good job. That obviously he's talking about Wim Koevermans and, of course, Ruth Doctor. But he said the Doctor came in and actually, they made progress bit by bit. And obviously it's a very difficult landscape to make progress when it comes to schoolboy football in Ireland. Although I get what he's saying with Tony Keown. I've never heard of Tony Keown before. I think I'm pronouncing it or Keown or Keown. I'm going to go with Keown. That used to be a thing with the FAI. I think he was getting a bit of PTSD there, Dunphy, Martin. What you reckon? Because the FAI would always have people like Pat Grace. He was on the board of the FAI years ago, wasn't he? And Pat Grace's fried chicken, and he used to call it League, and they sponsored League of Ireland. And he had people that were in Heineken and Diageo and all this stuff, and they're like, what do you know about football? But yet, in the same sentence, he's having a go with Packy Bonner, who does know about football. It's like, what gives you the right to have a say just because you played football? Well, what do you want? Like,
it's an awkward thing, because the structure of the board and stuff, like the government have kind of had a say on this, on and how they've had to reset everything, because champagne football sums it up perfectly, doesn't it, for Mark Ty, and that one man, he just got so powerful when he was basically reporting to the board, but the decision had been made. So these ones in place now they're accountable to the government for funding, obviously, and accountable to different associations and UEFA and things like that we've got our house in order. You have figureheads for that, but you do decide things as a board, and you will have to consult with your board and things like that. That's what it is. And those people are very good in corporate governance. And it may be that they're Tesco, and they might be from other backgrounds that have no relation to football, but they're very good at corporate governance and the bullshit of business, basically.
Well,
and they have to follow those procedures, and they're doing it in a football scenario because they're looking for funding.
Well, here's the thing, right? You've got to have experience, as you say, experienced corporate people in a company that has a 7-figure turnover. It needs that professionalism. So Tesco's, you want, I get why you get that, because you want that corporate know-how. You want that in there. That's something that the FAI have actually lacked for years. You look at the GAA, you look at the IRFU, not digging them out, by the way, because I know someone's going to say, man, you're having out a GAA again. No. What I'm saying is that they've had people in there who are highly educated, highly qualified, that run businesses. The FAI is a business. So you should have people in there with corporate and marketing know-how. So it makes perfect sense to have non-footballing people in there. And that is actually that's part of the memorandum of, what's it called? The thing with Sport Ireland. They have to have certain people that are completely independent, like independent board members.
Yeah.
So, it makes perfect sense. Yet again, more cloud shedding from Dunphy. And I like Dunphy, by the way. I really do, but this is just... And anyway, he continues about Neil Lennon. So Neil Lennon's name, this is Dunphy again, has been mentioned all through the process. And I think he would be a decent choice. If Carsley doesn't come on board, his success at Celtic wasn't just about the trophies. Lennon had an eye for a player and improved a lot of them greatly. John Park was head player development at Parkhead, and some give him credit for the signing of Virgil van Dijk for just $3 million. That is absolutely ridiculous from Dunphy, because you can't sign a player if you're an Ireland manager. Doesn't matter if he's a diamond in the rough. Like that. How does that qualify him to be an Ireland manager? You've got to deal with what you're given, and there's no way about it unless you do with Charlton and you write to all 92 clubs. Also, he finishes up here on the article. Lennon is experienced, has serious knowledge and character, and should be a front runner. But who knows how things will turn out when you look at those calling the shots. 2 random Englishmen, a retired goalie, and a chap from Tesco walk into a room. It sounds like the start of a joke. It is. So tell us what you think out there, guys. Do you agree with Dunphy? Is it a joke? Is he right, or is Eamon Dunphy just shouting at the clouds? We think he's shouting at the clouds, Martin, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And I like Dunphy. I actually do. I queued up to buy.
Why do you like Dunphy so much?
Because he's...
he wrote a book about you too.
A very good book about you two, actually. Although he did get the name wrong. No, he got the brothers mixed up. No, it was Ivan McCormick and Neil McCormick. And basically said that Ivan McCormick... Neil McCormick had a chance to join U2 and turn it down, or he was kicked out of the band. It was actually Ivan, and that was it. But they tried to bury him over that because it was a bit of a warts and all book. It's very good. I actually have. We must do a podcast on this. Actually, I have an interview with him from 1996 with Joe Jackson, and he talks about it. It's completely uncensored because it was censored at the time. And it's Dunphy Unleashed. It's actually called Dunphy Unleashed. Brilliant. If you're out there watching this and you love Eamon Dunphy, go onto Amazon. Dunphy Unleashed. It is really Dunphy Unleashed. Completely brilliant. And he tears into Mary Robinson, Seamus Heaney, Bono. It's the one he got sued over. And Prunches de Rosa. He got sued over. It's really good. But yeah, I love Eamon Dunphy. I hated him as a kid because my granddad hated him, so I had to hate him over what he said about Jack Charlton. But I grew to love him, and actually, he was quite right in a lot what he said. And I think he's a brilliant author, and I really, really hope, because he's not getting any younger, that he does write the second part to his autobiography, The Rocky Road. It's really, really good. It's a brilliant book. So, does that answer the question for you, Martin?
Yeah, that's I'll
exactly.
let you away with that one.
Back in your box, son. Right, so tell us what you think, guys. We want to hear from you. We are the voice of the fans, as always. A little bit of, probably this one's gone under the radar a little bit. A spot of car trouble. Now, most of you guys are looking at that going, what does that mean? Obviously, we have a bit of mic trouble, as poor Nick found out. But Stephen Carr it came out in the Independent. Mark Tighe reported it in the Sunday Independent that Stephen Carr was fined 50 grand and banned as an agent for 6 months after acting as an intermediary between Liverpool and an under-18 player who signed for the club in July 2021. We're not going to name the player. We don't have his name. Player X. Liverpool, Carr, and another agent, Jordan Siegel. Jordan Siegel, his father, used to be Stephen Carr's agent, actually, all pleaded guilty to the offences of using Carr as an unlicensed agent and for concealing or neglecting to declare his role in a deal with a player known as Player X. The Sunday Independent has obtained the 26-page FA Regulatory Commission decision in a case handed down in November 2022. The ban hasn't started, actually, because Carr deregistered as an agent during the ordeal in February 2022. Carr accepted the charges of concealing his work on the deal with player X and a second charge of carrying out intermediary work without a written representation contract. Carr gave an interview to the FAI investigator and initially said he was only a middleman who was helping the family get the best deal. And this is based on the family's wishes. And this is a quote from Carsley. It was me just making sure everything was done right for the right reasons, and X is going to end up getting the most, said Carr. Not about an agency getting the most, about X getting the most. And then you deal with that other side. When asked why his involvement had not been declared in the official deal documentation, Carr 47 said it was because he did not see himself as being involved in negotiations. He said the only thing he had been was a bit naive. That all sounds lovely. And then it all goes a bit sour for Stephen Carr. The FA Commission obtained copies of Carr's WhatsApp messages with Liverpool relating to the deal. Carr's first message to Newbury said, Matt, it's Stephen Carr. I look after X at the club. Can you take a call? After being shown WhatsApp messages between him and Newbury, where he discussed travel expenses and agency fees before saying the club were getting a gem, Carr said he had to hold my hands up. That does not look good. It's not right, Carr told the commission. I can only apologise about that. As I say, you live and learn. It won't be ever happening again. No, because he's not an agent anymore. How's Stevie Carr, eh?
Yeah, running the bar in Marbella at the moment, isn't he?
Yep. I won't be going there. If he ever sees this.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because we've had these ex-players that kind of work in the background, agents, and this is kind of one of the ones that's we all thought was a great thing. And I'm not thinking that, Stephen Hunt, for example, is an agent. Ian Hart kind of up to this kind of thing. Ian Hart as well. Stephen Ireland, I think, is involved as well. They're especially with Newcastle and their movements and things. It was all being credited, these former players, and that they're doing well and doing right by young footballers, basically, from their experience. Yeah. And I'm not saying that those people are involved in this kind of situation, but yeah, it's a shame, really. I think he probably did have best intentions at heart, but you do get found out with it, don't you? Ultimately, I think it's that 50 grand that Liverpool have been fined as well.
First offence, though. We don't need to.
No. I'm just saying it would have probably gone to. Yeah, it would have probably gone to. That would have probably been valuable and invested in the Klopp farewell, whatever they're going to be doing when they rename the stadium and everything like that.
It'll be more than 50 grand for that one.
He won't see out the season anyway. He's too hard for him at the moment, isn't it, the poor man? As it was today. Anyway.
Right.
I was just trying to find something, and I'm sorry to interrupt, Donna, because I know you do have a plan for this. But the other day when we were chatting on the, you called me out for my post and interaction with David Connolly, wasn't it? You did, yeah. And I noticed you haven't put this up. Maybe this is going to be on Social Media Watch, which is coming up. But Mark Lawrenson, have you put that one up? Can you find your message?
I will. I will talk about that, Mark. I will talk about it, Mark.
Well.
Absolutely.
Hope you're well, Mark. Just wondering where this photo was taken. And are you trying to make a late charge for Jack's squad? Fucking calling me out. I knew I'd find one.
Here, though. Here's the difference, though, Martin. Has David Conley got back to you?
Yeah, he has.
No, he hasn't.
He has got back to me.
What has he said? No, I don't fucking remember you. Hold on. Here, in case you're wondering, right? Here's Martin. David Conley put out his Unbox More Treasure. I kept the video diary 2002 World Cup, etc., etc., etc. Martin goes on. Met you, Mr. David Conley in Tokyo with Kenny C. Buying Adidas football trains with French England flags in them for a wind-up. What a time. Do you remember? Do you remember me, David? Please remember me. And have you got any used shorts? And then the difference was with me was that Mark Lawrenson, Mark actually, like you and Mark, I do, when I have a question for Mark Lawrenson, I do ask him on Twitter, and he always gets back to me. And I asked before, I asked because he mentioned in his book that he had gone for the Ireland job and he never got response, and he had his number 2 lined up or his number 1 lined up. And I asked him, who was it? And he goes, it was Frank Stapleton. So he does answer me. I think he follows the page now as well, the Lansdowne Road Twitter. which you can also follow, by the way, if you hit the subscribe. Just head over to a link tree. But anyway, and he did get back to me. He said it was USA 94. That wasn't the question I asked him, but that was the answer he gave me. So, but there you go.
No, fair play. But, we do get a lot of interaction. And we have had contact with
pathetic as
David
yours.
Connolly off Twitter.
Remember me, David, please. Anyway, that takes us nicely into our next topic, social media watch. Oh dear. Still haven't fixed that. Your man Yeri Nerik, if he's watching, he'll be giving out about that, won't he? Speaking of friends and interaction, Nick made a friend, didn't he? Where is it? I forgot to upload it here. Hold on. Bear with me 2 seconds. So I don't actually. I can't really mention it because you don't actually know what the context of it is because Nick's not here. I'll tell you what. We'll go back to that one next week. We'll leave that one for next week. We're going to pick something a bit nicer, actually. We did mention, obviously, it was Charlie O'Leary's 100th birthday during the week. 1st of February was Charlie, and he's looking great. Here's a lovely picture of him with Mick McCarthy, who does really probably look older than Charlie now. And there he is, Charlie O'Leary in the middle between him and Martin's mate, John. Or is it Jonathan? Or is it Johnny? But so he's looking fantastic there. Of course, there was a video. Oh, here's a picture of him with Paul McGrath as well. I do like this. We did show this during the week. And there is Paul Martin. Yeah, Paul Cook to me, but Paul to you. They were Charlie was with 100 on the back of their fantastic stuff. The FAI really playing a blinder with that one. A video was sent in by Mr. Roy Morris Keane. Didn't attend the function. Roy doesn't do parties. But he did send in this wonderful video in tribute to Charlie O'Leary.
So I can make your function. I hope you have a great night, Charlie. You're a good man. Some great memories working with you. You're obviously very slow to give me my kit. I was looking after the Dublin lads first. I won't hold that against you. Hope you and your family are good, Charlie. As I said, hope you have a great night. You deserve it. Been a great servant, obviously, to Irish football, and I've got fond memories with you, Charlie. Jesus, good days we had. I wish you all the best. Have a great night. God bless.
Didn't make it over though, did he? Just saying.
Yeah, I can't believe people calling him out for that. That's ridiculous. But star-studded.
Mick's there.
Yeah, but Mick's not flat out media duties, and Mick, he didn't work as closely, I would say, as Roy Keane did he? With as Mick did. So, I don't know. I think it kind of becomes a little bit about Roy Keane, doesn't it? I think
it still is about Roy Keane. We're talking about him,
but no, I think I actually like the fact that I only found out today. I think even that went viral, and obviously thanks to some of our reposting of it as well. It did, but which was lovely to see and great feedback. And to be honest, it's all very positive about Charlie and what a legend he obviously is.
Yeah.
But David Keogh's put up some brilliant videos as well from the night, some brilliant tributes and photos from lots of the lads. I mean, the fact is you can send out a message to kind of all the great and good in Irish football and you'll get a response because Charlie's such a legend. And, the FAI have done really well by him there and fair play. He's had a fantastic night with his family and stuff, and all the best to him.
Fantastic. No, we wish Charlie all the best. Hopefully for another 100 years. God, could you imagine living to 200? Jesus. Anyway, we're going to move it on to the comments. Loads of them coming in there, guys. Tell us what you think. What do you think? What do you think of Martin's sycophantic ways on social media? We did talk about this on the State of Play during the week. Tell us what you think. There, right. Here we get into interesting nonsense on a YouTube channel. How are you doing? Evening, lads. Do you think we might have a caretaker in charge for the friendlies in March? I think so, Martin. What do you reckon?
No, we'll have the manager in place by then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
shoot that one.
No, they will. They'll get it done. They have. I think it reflects really badly on the FAI if they don't, and it just shows a very weak association. And I don't think they're going to have that. And I think they'll get Carsley in, and if not, they'll just have to. They won't wait for him. I think they'll just have to go back to the drawing board and look. It's going to be then Lennon, you, and whoever else comes out of somewhere to do it. But yeah, I think they're all in on Carsley. I think they'll get Carsley done.
I think
it
so
will.
too. Actually, no, I agree with you. I do think he'll be in there. He won't be in, obviously, by Thursday. I think
No.
Still be there. No, thank you for your question. Keep them coming in, by the way, guys. We'll keep going until we run out of them. Angel Star Sunny, how you doing, Angel? Celtic, Man United, Ireland. Good man, Angel, or good woman? Don't know. Angel. Anyway, Shane, how you doing, Shane? Listen to Dan McDonald over the weekend on Off the Ball. Do you subscribe to that? I'm just saying we're free. We're free. And you get to have your say. We don't pontificate to you. Well, I do. But anyway, he's on Off the Ball and he still believes that Carsley is the number one target. And if it were to be Neil Lennon, it would have happened by now. I think that's true, Martin. I think that's spot on. The FAI they're going all out for Carsley here. Absolutely going out for Carsley here. And rightly so, in my opinion. Shane, again, I'd imagine the FAI would like someone to be in place ahead of the Nations League draw in Paris this Thursday. Yeah, not going to happen. But you know what, Shane? Let's even if we do have to have the extreme situation where we have a caretaker manager in situ in March, let's get the right person in. And we all believe Lee Carsley is the right person. If that's who they want and that's their man and they feel it's still open, let's be patient, let's not be silly, and let's not panic. And let's get somebody in that they want. Excuse me.
I think, though, just if that does happen, Dave, I know that we've got lots of comments and thanks everyone for that. And I see there's a lot of interaction between you. So, some of the context of when we read them might be lost a little bit because there's a lot of chat. But I think, we do want the manager in. But I think what will happen is if they wait and they get an interim in just for the kind of the March games, then we'll have the draw. We'll know who we've got. If we get off to a poor start in the games that matter in September, October, November, the FAI will be held accountable for that. It gives an excuse to the manager in the sense that I never had March to kind of work around it. So they're under a lot of pressure to get it done, and I think they will. I think so. I have faith. I think they will.
I think so too. Daryl O'Connor, how you doing, Daryl? Still holding the faith for Carsley. Matter of when at the minute, I say. Yep, I agree there. Daryl O'Connor again. If we get the likes of Wales, Iceland, Georgia / Kazakhstan with the right manager, we could seriously challenge to win that group. That's Pot B or League B. Nations League, of course, it is on Thursday, the 8th of February. We find out where we're going. Shane responds to Daryl. Can get Kazakhstan, Iceland, and Georgia in the same group due to travel restrictions. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kazakhstan. And Azerbaijan as well. I think they're having a bit of a war at the moment with Georgia. It's kind of going under the radar because of all the other wars in the world. Nuri Nurk, how you doing? On YouTube, just announced tonight, 2026 World Cup opening match will be in the Aztec Stadium. Final at MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. Also, imagine Donald Trump presenting the trophy at the final. Not to get too political, but looking at the latest polls, that's quite realistic. Of course, the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey is the stadium that replaced the Giant Stadium in New Jersey, built right next to it, where we beat Italy 1-0 in USA 94.
And it's the 11th of June, actually, that World Cup's due to start, I think.
11th of June, yep, that's right. Daryl O'Connor, didn't mean Kazakhstan and Georgia as in the same pot online either. Or good man, Daryl. Kevin O'Connor, I think Martin O'Neill messed up not keeping Declan Rice, but who can we blame for not getting Connor Bradley? It just fell on the radar. I mean, that will happen from time to time. The difference was with Rice and Grealish. We knew. Everybody knew they were talented. We were talking about it for ages. And I'm sorry, I said it the other night. He comes out, O'Neill, right, and he gives this spiel. I'm sitting back in my chair now for this one. Spiel of fucking like, I'm hardly going to force a player to play for. And yes, that's your job, Martin. Not you, Martin. Prendergast. Prendergast. But Martin, that's your job. You're the Ireland manager. You're not there for Martin. Sorry, I was sitting here as I sat back. I just got a massive fucking cramp in my leg.
Karma, because you're abusing me.
So, not you, it's Martin.
Oh, right, okay. You're part.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. What you get me on? What? Oh, no, like Martin O'Neill. Honest to God, like totally different situation there. But yeah, Connor Bradley, our condolences go out to Connor. His father passed away. He wasn't in the squad against Arsenal. His father passed away on Saturday. He was announced 58. I lost my father when he was 57, so that's no age whatsoever. Thoughts go out to Connor there. And listen, it's a shame that he's not playing for the Republic of Ireland. I think he's capped 13 times by Northern Ireland. There he is there in the Republic of Ireland top. But you know what, Connor, best of luck to him. He looks like a quality player. Scored a great goal against Chelsea. And you know what, best of luck to him. And we'll be getting behind him anyway. It's not his fault. FAI lost out. Simple as that. And you just got to accept it, I'm afraid. So I've just lost my tracking there. Here we go. Shane again. Can't get... Oh, sorry, I'll read this. This is the last response to read out. Can't get Iceland, Kazakhstan, Georgia either. There you go, Daryl. Trevor McIver. Connor was in the IFA setup from when he was 11 years old. Declan Finnegan, how you doing, Dec? Joe Hodge was an instant hit with QPR fans at Blackburn yesterday after his explosive debut. Heard several speculating he was Steve Hodge's son.
No. I mean, look, that's brilliant. I mean, we know Dec really well, and Dec's been messaging me glowingly about Joe Hodge, and it just went down really well. I made a post of, his professionalism. Left Wolves after the game the other night, travelled down to London to meet his new teammates so that he could train with them, get involved in the squad. Then to go off the bench and do that within 3 to 4 minutes is absolutely brilliant. Love it as well that we've got a few. The Irish R's are famous. Dec's one of them, but I love it that we've got a good contingent of Irish down in QPR as well. So it's good. He'll be linking up with Sinclair Armstrong. He won't be lonely, hopefully, coming over for the Ireland games when he's called up.
Hopefully. Darrell O'Connor. Sorry, they're having a bit of a... Oh, actually, no. This isn't. This is a separate point. Darrell O'Connor, by the way, we do want you interacting, but obviously, Darrell O'Connor, good point was made. If Carsley is first choice, in what universe could Lennon be second choice? That's an excellent point. And I think we made that here in the State of Play. How on earth do you go from Lee Carsley, shiny new car, to a banger like Neil Lennon? You go for somebody like, and if that's the type of manager you want, you go for somebody with a similar DNA, albeit not the one you wanted, like an Anthony Barry. You're not going to get Anthony Barry. So how do you get from one to the other?
Yeah, I get the point. Yeah, I think, Lennon's not for me, but I think I'm all in for the Carsley camp, and it's even talking about it now. There's just too few candidates, really. I wonder, did they ask Duffer? I wonder, did they ask Robbie Keane? Did they ever ask Roy? You just don't know who it was, but I've seen a few people say Robbie's doing well. Duffer's, he's experienced. He's had a few years now. It's probably too early for him in a sense, but you are now bringing in younger coaches now and giving them an opportunity, and it's management ultimately.
Not a good fit. Duffer. Shane, I would rather bring Kenny than have Lennon in charge. Darrell O'Connor, get John O'Shea involved with Carsley's backroom staff. Have him based here for League of Ireland, etc. Go on.
It won't happen. No, John O'Shea's not going to base himself in Ireland.
No,
I don't think.
He lives in England, doesn't he? He's set up there now. Shane, Carsley's backroom staff consists of Ashley Cole and Stephen Reid. So I just wonder if the FAI can afford that. Darrell O'Connor, talking about our point earlier on, or question, I suppose, would love a role for Kenny back involved the FAI in Irish football. Paul Cullerton, how you doing, Paul? It's been a while. Well, lads, cheers for the shows. Are you doing a podcast for the UEFA Nation League's draw on Thursday? Yes, we are. We will have it in some capacity. It won't be live. It will be essentially a state of play. So we will have opinion on that. We'll have a few things. We'll have an immediate reaction to it. Obviously, depending on who we get, will we know where we're playing? It'd just be interesting. I hope it's England and Wales, just for my bank balance. Will be handy, especially if it's a London Martin, just up the road.
Yeah,
but
I want England. I want England. I think it's set. I think it's destiny. I think we'll get Carsley, and it's going to be England.
Yeah, and he'll score against his old team. Carsley will. That's how it always happens. But we will do a state of play definitely that night. Richard Joyce, really hope Carsley doesn't get it, because the man clearly hasn't got his heart in this with the time it's taking, and second guessing FAI need to forget him and get a manager that wants the job. I think, Richard, you've been a bit harsh. I do understand where you're coming from, but I think it's more a case of he wants the job, but he wants to make sure it's on the right terms. And, we did touch on earlier on that his past dealings with the FAI, and we have said this, he was in the Ireland setup from the 90s, I think 98, 99. He wants to make sure those old ghosts are definitely gone out of the machine before, because this is going to be his first big job since he invented himself, I suppose, as a coach. He has been a caretaker manager, but he was a very defense-minded coach, a bit like he was as a player. Then he went off, he redefined himself as an attack-minded, modern, contemporary coach, and he wants that job, that his first job as a senior manager since his reinvention, to be the right one under the right circumstances, because if he does a bad job, he probably won't get another one. And you're in New York. Nick is not coming back. Celtic fans. Yeah, unfortunately, I feel sorry for Nick there, actually, because there wasn't anything he could do. Don't know. I don't even know what happened there. Mark Culleton, and with Mark Time having another story in today's Sunday Independent about our living abroad CEO, surely his position is now untenable at the FAI. Yes, we didn't want. I think that's a story that we're going to get into maybe on the next State of Play on Tuesday. But it was because I think there's a bit more too. But apparently they knew the FAI. There were people in the FAI that were warned that his salary wasn't quite right, and he still went ahead with it. That's a breaking story. We will get into that. Shane Brown, FAI bashing is getting old. If they deliver Carsley, that will be a big step in the right direction. That's the thing, Shane, and I do agree with you there. They're easy targets, Martin, aren't they, the FAI? But it gets to a stage of when you let go. When do you let go of the Delaney era, the Night of the Long Knives, this kind of the Joe Delaney's and all this sort of thing? And you have to give them a chance. You have to give them a chance at some stage to let them get it right. Now they've faux pod with the Hill, I suppose, situation. We won't call it a scandal. Money was repaid, funding was restored, and Sport Ireland seem to be happy with the way they're doing things, the way they've reacted. So we have to let go. We have to give them a chance, don't we? It does get boring after a while because it's very easy to just bash the FAI.
Yeah, it is, but we do give them credit where we think they get things right, and we want the FAI to succeed. I would say it's like a little bit like when you bash the manager. You ultimately you're critical because you think and you have an opinion which you're entitled to, where you see things could be done a lot better, and we want the best for Irish football, and that's where Stephen Kenny got a lot of flack, and at the end we were big fans of Stephen Kenny, and it just didn't work out, and it was a shame that it didn't. But it's the same with the FAI. You have to call out when it's not right, and I'm hoping they deliver, but I just think there's an awful lot of faith in people to deliver, and people are right to question their background. It's the same with Lee Carsley if he comes in. As soon as we get a bad result, it will be that he's inexperienced. And what did we do?
I tell you what,
that's football. It's opinions. That's it.
Imagine, and I think here's an issue now: the pressure, the expectation of Carsley now, because we've built him up. I think there will be those of us that will be like, hold on, let's not expect miracles, but there will be those, won't there, that will want a 5-0 win against Brazil in his first game, even though they're not playing Brazil.
There will be whoever's appointed, you will have a media coverage of it, which will be his mates will be pro and talking about what he's going to bring to it. I think what we will get if it's Lee Carsley is, I'm hoping that we'll get someone who's quite grounded and humble when they come in. They're not going to promise the world. They're going to say what they think they're going to try and do and what they're trying to achieve and set those objectives. I think he'll have the kind of credit with the media, and that he played in the Premier League, high level, did very well with Everton, very respected. He can turn around and say, well, I've won at underage and this is a young group and this is what we're going to try and do and develop them as we have needed to do. Stephen Kenny never got the media, really. He didn't come across fantastically well. And I'm not saying that Lee Carsley's going to do that.
He got 8/10 of the Irish media, but he didn't get the friends in the media. He didn't get McAteer, Ian Hart. They all looked common denominators. Mick McCarthy, they had Mick McCarthy commentating his first game on Sky Sports. Yeah, because RT didn't have the rights to it. It was Bulgaria, wasn't it, in the Nations League? RT had the rights, nobody didn't at the time. Mick McCarthy was the bloody commentator. I mean, that was a real. That wasn't good by Sky. That wasn't good at all. And Mick was put in a difficult position as well, because then he's like, Jesus, like they're gonna think I'm burying him here. But yeah, he never. And yes, Stephen Kenny's press conferences were painful. And his interviews were painful as well. So this would be a bit different. We'll move it on here anyway. Daryl O'Connor, if the lads succeed in getting Carsley, that's job well done for me. Sorry, Amo. Richard Joyce, for everyone who thinks Carsley is this great manager, that's Ireland's only hope. I say simple. Remember Brian Kerr and how that turned out with a golden team, not the shit show we have. Just saying. Yeah, it's completely different, though, to be fair. Kevin O'Connor says about Amo. He called Richard Dunn Derek in Roy Keane's first book. Kevin O'Connor asks, will Carsley persuade Tom Cannon to stick with Ireland? Apparently, he was trying to get him... Rumours are coming out that he was getting him to switch from Ireland to England, because obviously playing for the under-21s. But I think that's being proven to be bollocks. Is that... Did you hear something about that? Or
Yeah, you wouldn't know what was going on there, would you? Like, there probably was moves to get him. Then that, you know, Jim Crawford was asked enough, wasn't he? But you know, that's just football. A lot of it's actually taken out of the manager's hands. It's agents moving people and thinking where they want. Even at international level, they're saying it's an opportunity to say, like Declan Rice's agent and the West Ham clowns were involved, weren't they? Contractually with that, and saying if you go and do it with England, you're going to get more money, and that's the fact of it. So when Tom Cannon's name is on the rise, he is going to be tempted to go to England if he qualifies.
Fair. Pater Dugan, is this the same Eamon Dunphy that, if I remember correctly, a few years ago, praising John Delaney for what he's done for Irish football? He's not the only one, but yeah, he did. You're one of the good guys, John. And then John, like, was a little awkward smile. Yeah. And I remember Eamon Dunphy saying, why didn't the FAI hold a raffle when they were in financial peril? And I just got the, the image of Father Ted with the car, the leaky roof. Oh, dear. Shane Brown, I think where we are right now, Carsley is the best fit. Clearly a talented and highly qualified coach. Any candidate is a big risk, but I feel Carsley ticks the big boxes, not all the boxes. I go with that, Shane. Yeah, look, it's where we're at the moment. We need his expertise. And, Kilbane did say, look, a lot of stuff kind of wants to, impart. Carsley wrote the book on it. He's been living and breathing that mantra from the FA. For a number of years, so he's perfect. I think he's perfect as well. Look, it might not work out, but I think he's perfect. Let me just go through some more of the comments.
He does fit in. Carsley fits in again with his pathway, and I know I've mentioned a point earlier, but like it does fit in very well. And I think the key thing with, like, I'm a big fan of John O'Shea being involved. I think he got tarnished a little bit, and people would question and have questioned me when I've made that point on WhatsApp groups, etc. Well, what's he done, John O'Shea? He's not been fantastically well wherever he's been, but as a coach, you come in under the manager, and if the manager's got a certain way of playing, you are doing basically your training sessions to how the manager wants to play. You have to be successful. It's results business, as we know. You'll get tarnished if you fail as a team, the manager. I think John O'Shea came in very late to it. It's very hard for him to dictate on that. I think Anthony Barry was lauded basically for being a set piece kind of coach, which is a very modern kind of thing in football. I do feel that the FAI do want to push the narrative of their coaching pathway as well. And I think if you've come through that, that's not something I think that Mark Cannon will want to do. Now, Lee Carsley didn't come through that. He came through the Scottish one. I think Kilbane came through England, I think, in the middle.
No, Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland one,
Northern
right?
Ireland, yeah.
Now, a lot of reasons why some of those pathways are there, it actually comes down to cost as well. It's cheaper, ironically, in some countries to do your badges than it is, for example, England or other countries. So they've done that, but I think the FAI do want to promote within. So I think Stephen Reid, Andy Reid, they've come through the Irish one, right? Which is a fantastic one. I'm not going to knock it. We're going to have some brilliant interviews coming up soon with people. We've had them in the past. Mark Mahoney, we've had Mark Ross as well. We've had some very good Larry Mahoney, who's also involved in the FAI and stuff in the past. So we do know that we are developing very good coaches. I think what he will want with Carsley coming in is that he's going to probably bring in, even with Jim Crawford, how they're going to work that kind of Irish pathway for coaching, because you do want to give that idea that it's possible for Irish coaches to get the big job one day or be part of it. And I think that's what we are trying to work towards. I think that's a key thing, though, knowing what Mark Cannon's pathway is.
Well, and yet again, I think he's right to do it. I think it makes sense. But maybe now, if you got somebody with the nous of Lee Carsley, just let him crack on with it. to a degree, but I think they will. I think they're going to work it all out. Mark Fitzpatrick, this Ronaldo fella is a cod. Yeah, well said, Martin. Martin is he's a big contributor actually to Lansdowne.
Yeah, I said we give a shout out to him. So yeah, thanks Martin for all your feedback and your comments. You're keeping us on the
and he brings a lot to our attention, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
So fair play to Martin. We do appreciate it because that's the thing, isn't it? You without you guys, we'd be absolutely nothing. Well, you wouldn't, Martin.
Thank you, Bono.
Thank you. I was at the clapping thing. Is it stop clapping? Yeah. Or stop clicking your fingers. A child dies every time I click my finger. Yeah.
Stop fucking doing it then.
Yeah. God.
And I think it's worth saying it now. Just please go and find the Bono shouting in San Francisco at the SF flag.
No.
Still makes me laugh.
No.
Still makes me laugh.
No. I saw that about 20 years ago, and you're only all catching up on it now. I was like, bury that. Anyway, Kevin Christie, Kilbane's article makes me think it'll get done. Yep, agreed. Carsley would have walked away ages ago if it was a non-runner. Love the idea of Carr as Carsley's eyes and ears for the domestic game. Perfect fit. And then he continues, amazing gig for Kenny to inherit one day to Wood Square to circle nicely. Absolute sense there from Kevin Christie. That was your suggestion, Martin. I do agree. I think Carr maybe initially, fair enough, but he is 71. It's to travel to these games, it does take a lot of energy. And I think to get somebody like Stephen Kenny in there would be he'd be doing his bit for Irish football. There'd be no shame in that whatsoever. And I think it'd be fantastic to have involved somewhere. Darryl O'Connor, good old Darryl, a friend of the podcast, and Lansdowne Road. Clattering for England away sounds great crack, but in terms of winning, trying to improve, taking seeding, etc., give us Wales and Cardiff. Pot 2, anyone except Ukraine. Pot 4, I don't know who I want. Yep, if we do get England, we will be doing a live episode from the Clattering before the game, before we go there.
Yeah,
we'll have to do something. Kieran Boyle, how you doing, Kieran? Oh my God, Kieran, where have you been? Over in sunny Florida. Lads, it has to be Carsley. Pay him what he asks for. Give him the coaches he wants to have the right. Sorry, give him the coaches he wants. Have to right the ship and get some international respect back. Kieran, what is that message missing? I want to hear it before we go off here. You've got a couple of minutes. Come on. And
just on the Nation League. Oh, sorry, I was just on the Nations League. If it's worth saying, pot 1 we can get Austria, Czechia. That's got to be Czech Republic, isn't it? England and Wales. Pot 2 Finland, Ukraine, Iceland, Norway. Pot 3 Slovenia. Obviously, we can't get any of these. We're in pot 3. Slovenia, Republic of Ireland, Albania, and Montenegro. That's us. And then we can get someone from Georgia, Greece. It's going to be Greece and Turkey. And Kazakhstan. So some of them can't play each other, I believe, because Kazakhstan can't go to different countries.
Yeah, all those Stan countries are a bit.
I think we'll get. England is very handy for us. We know Wales as well.
Hold on. Breaking news.
I like Austria.
Breaking news.
Oh shit.
Carsley can bring Adidas back and once and for all make sure it's #away to Jesus with his story. Thank you, Kieran. My week is now complete. Sorry, Martin. You're saying you want to go Austria? Yeah, well.
Austria was good.
Last time we played Austria, I always remember the game in '95 when Steiger got a hat trick. People always think it was Poster that got the hat trick. He got 2 goals against us in Dublin. Steiger got a hat trick. I remember that 3-1. Cracking game of football in that game. Yeah. Although McLean did sort of get a bit of revenge for us. I don't mind who it is. For me, it's an experience. I in the middle of writing an article for the FAI for the 2 programs. I'm not going to mention it, but it's like This Week in Irish Football. And I was just sitting there and I was thinking, my God, like I'm going to be sitting hopefully in the Aviva or Lansdowne Road and just in Dublin, March. It'll be spring. I can't wait for it. And yeah, I don't care where we go. Hopefully it's England, just for my bank balance, as I said. But I cannot wait for it. To travel to these Ireland games. I just love it, Martin. We love it, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So football sometimes is a distraction.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you who's not loving it. Pat Cremin. You guys are boring. Now, Pat, I'm not going to sit here and let you talk to Nick and Martin like that, right? They're okay. They're not too boring. Shane Brown, look at Cape Verde and AFCON, Morocco in last World Cup, etc. Carsley can organise and motivate a team of talented kids. We certainly do have enough of those young players to work with over the next 2-3 years. Richard Joyce, Czech Republic, Iceland, and George. You leave Georgia alone, and Georgia will be ideal draw for Ireland's Nations League group. Sorry, Rich, I'm having fun. Who am I, after that intro today, to have a go at anyone making a typo? Jesus. Error-ridden performance. Feels like I've been set up by Stephen Kenny. No, that's a bit much. Kieran Ball, sorry lads, I've been catching the shows after the live ones. NFL has consumed me the last few months. Kieran, we're glad to have you back, and we hope you keep them well, mate. Well, listen, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you heard and you love what you saw, bar the intro, do hit that subscribe button. Give that QR code a little scan over there. Head over to our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. Go to greenmachinepodcast.com if you want some opinion. I had a complete mind. I just need to get off this. It's been a disaster from start to finish, but this is what you get. But listen, we are going to be back on Tuesday. We'll have the latest news for you. We'll have the state of play coming out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and the same on Thursday. And if there's any breaking news with Lee Carsley whatsoever, we'll have it here for you. We will have a reactionary post. If he's appointed or someone is appointed, Martin, you might get appointed at this rate. We will have a live episode, and we just cannot wait for this. The Nations League draw is on the 8th of February. Do not miss it. We will have an episode for that. We will have all the latest news, and we will have your opinion as well on that. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, and thank you guys for your comments, your interaction. You are lovely, lovely people. Can't wait to see you guys in March. But for now, we'll leave you, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Good night. God bless. And I haven't got it lined up. Yeah, good night.